One man spent an entire night fighting a stranger. He didn't know who had attacked him. He didn't know why. He had no weapon, no advantage, no way to see clearly in the dark. Only his grip, and he refused to let go. By sunrise, he believed he had seen God face to face. How can both of those statements be true? That question has lived inside this story for thousands of years, and the answer will change how you read every name, every promise, and every failure in the Bible. To understand what happened that night, you have to understand who Jacob was before it. And Jacob was not a hero. He was not a man of extraordinary faith. He was not the kind of person you would choose to build a nation from. Jacob was the most calculating figure in the book of Genesis. He had stolen his brother's birthright for a single meal. He had disguised himself before his blind father, taken his brother's place, and walked away with a blessing that wasn't his. And when the consequences of those choices came looking for him, he ran for 20 years. Every success he built after that was constructed the same way, through strategy, through manipulation, through staying one step ahead of everyone around him. Jacob had never obtained anything by being honest. And yet, here is what the text reveals. God had not chosen Jacob despite all of this. He had chosen him before any of it, before the first deception, before the stolen blessing, before the first step of the first flight. Before Jacob had done anything, God had already placed his name on this man. Which raises the question that carries the rest of the story. Why? 20 years have passed. Jacob has built a life far from home. 2 wives, children, livestock, wealth, everything he had manipulated his way into owning. And then word arrives. His brother Esau is coming, with 400 men. Jacob doesn't know if his brother comes in peace or for revenge. So he does what Jacob always does. He calculates. He divides his family into groups. He prepares gifts, wave after wave of livestock, sent ahead to soften whatever is coming. He places the people he loves most at the back. He arranges everything for maximum survival. Until there is nothing left to arrange. He sends everyone across the river Jabbok, and he stays behind, alone. Now here is what most people miss about this moment. Jacob did not find himself alone by accident. He chose it. He placed himself in a space where there was no one left to manage, no one left to protect, no one left to deceive. For the first time in 20 years, Jacob had nothing between himself and the darkness. And that is when someone arrived. The text uses one word to describe what happened next. A man. Not an angel, not God, not a divine being descending in fire or light. A man. And this man attacked Jacob in the dark, without warning, without explanation, without mercy. And Jacob fought back all night. 2 forces locked together in complete darkness, neither one gaining ground, neither one letting go, until the moment the sky began to change. As dawn approached, the stranger did something unexpected. He reached out and touched Jacob's hip. One touch, and Jacob's hip was wrenched out of socket instantly. He was broken in a single moment, and yet he still would not let go. Which forces the question that changes everything about this story. If this being could end the fight with one touch, why did he wait until dawn to use it? Hold that question, because the answer is the heart of everything. The stranger speaks. Let me go, for it is dawn. And Jacob, broken, exhausted, hip destroyed, tightens his grip. I will not let you go unless you bless me. And then the stranger asks a question. 3 words. What is your name? It seems simple, but stop, because this question had been asked before. Decades earlier, in a dim tent, A blind old man named Isaac had reached out his hands toward his son. He had felt the hands, smelled the clothing, heard the voice, and he had asked, "Who are you, my son?" And Jacob had looked at his father's unseeing eyes and lied. "I am Esau." The lie that started everything, the deception that sent him running for 20 years, the moment that defined who Jacob was, or who he had decided to become. Now, in the dark, broken, with nothing left to lose and no one left to deceive, the same question comes again. "What is your name?" And this time, Jacob tells the truth. Jacob, the deceiver, the supplanter, the one who takes what isn't his. One word, the truest thing he had said in 20 years. And it was that word, that single, honest, devastating word, that changed everything. The stranger speaks again. "Your name will no longer be Jacob. It will be Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans, and you have overcome." Jacob asks for the stranger's name. He receives no answer, only a blessing. And as the light fully arrives, the stranger is gone. And Jacob names the place Peniel, because I have seen God face to face, and yet my life has been spared. Now the answer to the question from Act 4. Why did God wait until dawn to end the fight? Because he wasn't waiting for Jacob to lose. He was waiting for Jacob to tell the truth. The entire night, every hour of that relentless, exhausting, painful struggle was not a test of strength. It was an invitation to stop performing, to stop calculating, to stop being the man he had constructed, and finally say the name he had been running from. God was willing to fight through the night, to reach that one moment. But the sun has risen now. Jacob has his new name. He knows who he fought. And across the river, 400 men are still coming. The night transformed him. But transformation is not reconciliation, and 20 years of betrayal cannot be undone by a name. The real question is still ahead. Jacob crosses the river, limping, every step a reminder of what happened in the dark. He sees Esau in the distance, and he does something no one who knows Jacob's story would expect. He goes ahead of everyone. He places himself at the front, not behind his family, not protected by layers of gifts and strategy. At the front, exposed. And he bows to the ground 7 times as he approaches his brother. Not as a tactic, not as a calculated gesture designed to disarm, but because the man who had spent his entire life arranging everything for his own survival was finally walking forward with nothing in his hands. And Esau ran, not with a weapon, not with 400 men in formation. He ran, and he embraced his brother, and wept. The gifts had not done this. The strategy had not done this. 20 years of distance had not softened this. What changed was the man. The reconciliation Jacob had been trying to purchase for 2 decades was never for sale. It was waiting for him to become someone capable of receiving it. Why would God spend an entire night fighting a man he could destroy with one touch? Because God was not trying to defeat Jacob. He was trying to reach him. And Jacob, the man who had spent his entire life running, deceiving, calculating, had built walls that could not be reasoned with, could not be argued through, could not be dismantled by a vision or a voice or a promise. The only way through was the long way. A night in the dark, a broken body, a question with only one honest answer. God fought through the night because Jacob was worth the fight. And what came out on the other side of that river was not the man who had gone in. The man who walked into that night was Jacob. The man who walked out was Israel.